Now, James Atkinson knew that he had a peanut allergy, and he may have suffered anaphylaxis after eating just a couple of bites of pizza ordered from a takeaway app. We're going to speak to James's parents in just a moment because they want changes which are very important to the 2 million people who suffer from food allergy in this country. First, though, Kira Durkin has a reminder of what happened to James.
A bright and bubbly 23-year-old university graduate, James Atkinson had known he was allergic to peanuts since he was a teenager and was said to be conscientious about checking ingredients. But in July 2020, after eating less than a full slice of pizza he'd ordered through an online delivery service, James began to have an allergic reaction. Just over an hour later, he's believed to have suffered a cardiac arrest and died. An inquest later this year will look into whether the pizza's ingredients had changed on the day of the order to include peanut powder, something the owner of the takeaway denies. James's parents have gained support from the family of Natasha Laperouse, who died after eating a baguette from Pret a Manger in 2016, and are now campaigning for clearer allergen information on takeaway apps. A step they say might have saved their son's life.
And James's parents, Jill and Stuart, are joining us now. Hello, thank you both very much indeed for coming in. There's a lot of unanswered questions about this case, and you and your lawyer are going to be putting some very hard questions at the inquest in a few weeks' time. But the working theory seems to be this, as we said there, that up to the day that this pizza was ordered by your son, one of the ingredients was almond powder, which he was not allergic to. That's right. But you seem to think, and I'd like to know why, that on the day itself, when he died, that ingredient had been swapped for peanut powder. What makes you think that?
We got told by the police that they'd got CCTV of the restaurant owners purchasing peanut powder on that day.
On that day?
On that day instead of almond powder.
I see.
That's what they...
So that's very strong circumstantial evidence.
Yes.
And as Susanna said, your son was taken violently ill, within almost seconds?
The pizza arrived, and within 71 minutes, James had passed away.
And he actually knew that he was slipping away, didn't he?
He rang the ambulance himself. He knew straight away that he'd had a reaction, and he called 999.
He told them that he thought he was dying.
He did. We've only just found that out, actually. No. And when the ambulance crew carried him out, he said to him, I'm going to die, I'm going to die.
It's a heck of a thing to find out about your boy. Terrible thing. Well, the law seems to state that, the new law that's now in place seems to state that ingredients have to be labelled. And that when this pizza arrived, one would have expected, either on the box or when he made the order and asked questions, he would have been told that there was peanut powder in there.
Yeah,
Why? Yeah.
This is, unfortunately, the law wasn't in place for this type of food or at the time that James ordered this pizza.
Correct, yeah.
And I think one of the things that you want is for takeaway food via delivery apps to be very clearly labelled with the allergens. What I don't understand, and I talk to a lot of parents of children who have allergies, is I don't understand when a restaurant knows the ingredients of the food that they are preparing and delivering, why that isn't made clear on the menu on the food delivery app. Have you managed to get to the bottom of that?
No, we haven't. I think there's such a lot of grey areas with it. When James died, I was looking at all sorts of things, Food Standards Agency, and I read the Food Standards Agency, and as a customer, you're supposed to find out the ingredients or the allergens in two, at the time of ordering and at the time of delivery. And I said, well, it should have come on the box that it was delivered in. But nobody can clarify that. But I'm reading it in black and white.
There are so many terrible aspects to this story, and one of the most heartbreaking to me is that James was meticulous about avoiding peanut. He was not casual or careless at all, was he?
No.
His friends knew all about it. At work, if they had any food in, work knew about it. He was on top of it.
So the owner of the restaurant, which provided this particular pizza, said that the website contained very clear information regarding allergens and food hygiene. Very clear information. Now, I would expect very clear information to mean that on the app, it says the pizza and the pizza ingredients, and that the pizza ingredients would include an allergen that a consumer was allergic to. Were you able to check what was on the app at the time that James ordered the pizza, and did it include any of the allergen that James was allergic to?
Again, these are questions we need answering.
Yes.
At the inquest that we're having in October.
And one of the things that a lot of people who do not have any experience of food allergy think is that as long as somewhere on the website it says may contain nuts, then you're covered.
Yeah.
And I think what people don't understand is that people can be allergic to different types of nuts. Yeah. So just saying may contain nuts is of no use whatsoever.
No.
Because then you would avoid, a restaurant or an app could put that on any food, and you'd have to avoid everything. The point is you need to know the ingredients, the specific ingredients of all the different products, don't you?
And this is what we're asking for: clear and transparent ingredient, a full list.
It's not much to ask for, is it?
It's not,
to be honest with you. Especially when the penalties for not giving that information are as desperate as the ones that you've had to cope with. Can I ask, how did you hear the news of what had happened to James?
We got a phone call from his friend Luke about 8:30. And he said to me, I don't want to alarm you, Stuart, but James has had an allergic reaction and is on his way to hospital. And he didn't seem distressed or anything.
Right.
And then when we rung the hospital up, Jill had been out. When she come back, we rung the hospital up. And she just asked where we lived, the nurse, and I said in Leeds. And she said, this is really hard to tell you over the phone, but James's heart stopped beating and we're trying to resuscitate him.
Oh.
Can you get here as soon as you can?
Yeah.
By the time we got there, he died.
You said that when you did get there and you saw him, he just looked like he was asleep, didn't he?
He did,
yeah. Yeah, at peace.
Perfect. We're our son.
Yeah.
I remember Jill saying to doctor, can I try and resuscitate him? I'm his mum.
Oh.
She says, it's too late, he's gone.
You would do that, wouldn't you?
Well, of course you would.
You can't, any mum or parent would. Yeah. You do absolutely anything.
Yeah. Do you also suffer from this allergy?
I do, yeah.
So just explain to people what that means and how you avoid the things that you're allergic to, because this isn't something that people are careless about.
You have to check everything you eat. It's really difficult going out to eat. You put your trust in a restaurant or a cafe, and I don't think people I think some people think it's a choice.
Yes.
That and I'm not minimising this, but to be vegetarian or vegan it's not, this can mean life or death if you have an allergen.
Well, we've heard stories that occasionally when somebody with an allergy, say a peanut allergy, is on board an aircraft and they make that known. And the cabin crew will make an announcement and say, because there is somebody with an allergy on board, we won't be serving nuts on this flight. And you get some people in their ignorance who think, as you say, it's just a kind of a personal choice. They don't much like eating nuts. In fact, even if a package is opened in the cabin and these molecules of peanut get into the airways of someone like you could die. Yeah. It is as simple as that. It's as black and white as that.
Yeah, for some people, the sensitivity is so great. Yeah. Like you say, just a molecule would be enough.
Look, how does one summarise a life? But if you could summarise your son, the kind of person he was, what would you say about James?
Just amazing. His friends used to say, didn't he, first on the dance floor and last off. I hope he's dancing somewhere.
He was a bright, bubbly character, wasn't he? His work used to say when he came into work, he always used to come in with a big smile and a special fist pump to his boss.
I'll tell you what, he took a good picture, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, he
looks really good.
A good-looking boy.
He was, yeah. Smashing lad.
We spoke to Natasha's parents last week. I know that they're supporting you, Natasha, Edna and La Perouse, who died because she ate a baguette, which had come from Pret a Manger before she got on a flight, in fact. And as a result of her death, they have managed to introduce Natasha's law, which of course means that the ingredients of products like that baguette must be listed.
Yes.
I cannot understand why that cannot apply now to takeaway menus and to delivery apps. I think absolutely what should come out of what happened to James.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully the coroner at the inquest in October, you say it's going to be.
It is in October provisionally, but we've launched a victims' right to review
with the police.
Against the police, which they've told us that it could postpone that inquest even further. At the moment it stands, it's going to be on James's 26th birthday, which...
Well, I was going to say, one just hopes that at the end of the hearing, that the coroner makes a very clear directive to these firms to do exactly what Susanna just described. It is such obvious common sense.
It's life and death. And I think people need to understand that for 2 million people, that they are doing everything they can to avoid these allergens while continuing to enjoy the food that the takeaways are delivering and making money out of.
That's right.
It's the absolute least that people can do to declare the allergen ingredients on those.
Yeah. Well, we have a statement from Deliveroo. A spokesman for that company said this: "We have been in contact with the police, who confirmed that it acted properly. We, that is Deliveroo, acted properly at all times and continue to comply fully with the investigation. They say Deliveroo will cooperate in full at the coroner's inquest and they will share all information that is requested by that coroner." We, of course, have contacted the takeaway in question several times. It hasn't responded to our request for any comment at all. The owners have previously denied changing the recipe on the day James ordered the pizza, but we've heard what the police had to say about that. There seems to be circumstantial, at least CCTV evidence that they did, but hopefully that will be clarified at the inquest. We wish you well for that.
There needs to be an obligation on these companies to declare their ingredients. Let's hope that this doesn't happen to anyone else.
That's all we can hope for, because we can't bring James back. No. But we can help others.
Yeah,
exactly right. Exactly right. And you are doing, and this is part of that process. And thank you very much for being here. We do appreciate it.
Can I just say one thing? We launched a crowd justice page, and we'd just like to say a big thank you to everybody that's supporting us in our fight to get justice for James.
How much have you managed to raise so far?
We've raised just over £10,000.
Excellent.
And the comments are so humbling. It's unbelievable.
I bet.
People are good, aren't they?
They are good, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you very much for having
me.
You. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right, 7:53. You're watching Good Morning Britain on ITV.
See you in a moment.